without end, because we are not capable of comprehending everything. So we have to be satisfied with some partial cause. And this is a very important conceptual what we conceptually learned with the development of this problem. This is one of the most important conclusions we have achieved or come to. Just see how these three overlaps are similar, or no, how they differentiate. We can say that HS, human capital and social capital, intersect with nature and environment. Here we have actually overlap between non-material aspect of welfare, which overlap with material aspect of welfare. Well, this is quite interesting perspective, I think. Non-material, yes, material. We couldn't see this at Leopold's matrix. The other overlap is overlap between progressive factors of sustainability with conservative factors. Nature is conservative in development. Nature wants to keep the basic condition, environmental and intact, and so it's actually ecologists kind of don't want economic development. They are conservative. And social capital, again, this is tradition. It means maintenance of something what has already been. So this is again conservative factor, while human capital and the economy, they're very progressive, mobile, and they follow opportunities. Social capital cannot follow opportunities. Social capital is locked in community, is locked in place, while economic capital, human capital is not locked in place. It can go and follow better opportunities for. And the third overlap is overlap between produced and non-produced aspects of sustainability. Again, I would just in the same way explain. So, what we can conclude here, in short, we can see that if we evaluate social problems and understand them as complex, structured in a complex way, not in simple way. It means if we understand social objects of evaluation as incommensurable, this means that we can achieve evaluation, we can achieve aggregation in evaluation, but we cannot achieve macro indicator of impact. We can achieve set of integral indicators which are equally valid, but actually somehow competing. Then what we learned is that evaluation should take into account secondary impacts. Secondary impacts are these impacts in the non-overlapping areas and are primary. Economic measures impact its own economic criteria. This is primary, vertical thinking. But here we have different. Here we have secondary impact. How economic measures impact social capital. This is side effect, maybe sometimes even unwanted effect, or secondary effect. And we all, as evaluators, know that in evaluation today, we only evaluate direct impacts. Secondary impact, indirect impact, are even in a guideline for evaluation in cohesion funds. It says, yes, secondary impacts are terribly important, but they are just too complicated to evaluate, to follow, and not. So my conclusion will be, okay, I understand it's important, but I will not do it because it's too complicated. Actually, it is not complicated. If you schematize your problem, you conceptualize your problem in appropriate way. In our context, it means in a mesa way as a complex problem. If you conceptualize complex problems as simple and try to solve them as simple problems, then what follows is terrible complications, a lot of work, and very poor outcome of your evaluation. So our conclusion, the third conclusion, is that complexity, social complexity, can be simplified. But it can only be simplified in a complex way. Complexity can be simplified in a complex way. It cannot be translated into simplicity, as if complexity never existed. If we have complexity, we will never get rid of it. It will go with us. It goes with us. Well, which is actually just okay, because we are producing it. Complexity, we like complexity. Just maybe we don't know how to live with it, and in particular how to organize communal life in complexity. And to conclude, now somebody would come and say, okay, this is fine, but this is actually a game. You're just talking here some game, some experiment. Because in real life situation, I still need here a culture. You remember from the beginning. And there will be somebody else, and he will say, well, I need here also, I don't know, chemistry, some physics, some, I don't know, health. Why is not health here? Why is not 15 circles here? To organize everything, and we will have a very nice presentation, and we will have very nice evaluation, and we will cover everything. What does this solve with three or four domains? This is too simple. This doesn't tell us everything, what we want to know. Well, our experience is that it is entirely sufficient that we work with 3-part or 4-part model. We have seen that when we started to work with 4-part model, we were able to translate it into a set of 3-part models. So it's better to research situations if they're simple than if they're complex. What to do with culture? Because culture is important. If you want to study culture, we may insert culture instead of, I don't know, social. Or even better, leave this concept of sustainable development as it is for more than 20 years and define another concept of culture. Maybe we will have 3 domains of culture, I don't know, tradition, and 1 circle, another circle would be demography, and the third would be autonomy. I'm just improvising, I really don't know how to conceptualize culture. So, if you want to study culture, we can construct independent concept of culture with the 3. Here is culture, I don't know, here is K1 domain, K2 domain, K3 domain. So it means don't add another circles, but compose your independent concept. Because what is important is not to put everything together. What is important is to shift our evaluation and way of thinking from non-intersecting areas, evaluation of non-intersecting areas, direct impacts, to evaluation of intersecting areas. This is important. Not putting everything together, but go from primary to secondary. This is important. So you can do it any concept, however you wish, and of course, community in the northern part of city will conceptualize culture in this way. One community in the rural part, southern part of Romania, will conceptualize their cultural needs completely differently. Because they feel it so differently. And something is in society, you know, society is not like physics. When gravitation is the same, Romania, Slovenia, China. In society are things totally different in different contexts. And evaluation is all about context. Very small theory is actually supporting evaluation. The largest problem is when you have to go to context. Then you have to invent concept, and so on and so on. Participation, and we all know this is then the part of So it's no problem to include culture, but don't put it as a fourth or fifth circle, conceptualize it independently. So this is what I wanted to say. Thank you very much for your attention. I will be